Hi, I'm Ed Ort. I'm here with Jerry Springberg. Jerry has led a very interesting life, but one in which he's faced some amount of challenges. However, Jerry has been able to overcome those challenges with a great deal of success. Today, I'd like to explore with Jerry some of those challenges and find out how he's been able to overcome them. So, welcome, Jerry.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks for meeting with me today. First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, Ed, I've become financially successful. But you know, the most important thing in my life is my family. I've been married for over 50 years now to the same lady. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
That's wonderful.
And I have 3 sons who are happily married, successful in their careers, and have given me 6 grandchildren.
That's absolutely wonderful. So let's explore how you got there, and let's get to today's topic, overcoming obstacles. So let's start by going back just a few years, actually to the 1960s, where I understand you owned successfully a dry cleaning business, but I also understand something happened during that period that put your business in jeopardy. What was that all about?
Well, Ed, the dry cleaning business went through a very bad period. Wash and wear came in. People were putting their seersucker suits into the washing machine, the blankets into the washing machine. You couldn't watch TV without seeing this happening. It led to my store losing over 1/3 of its income, which came directly out of my pocket. What to do? I thought about it for a while, and I remembered that my buddy, Joe Cohn, owned a tuxedo store nearby. I went over to Joe and I asked him if we could install a tuxedo store in my plant. The plant was 80 feet wide and 60 feet deep. We took 25 feet front space of that plant and installed a tuxedo store. Within a year, the tuxedos, which I had made a 50% arrangement with Joe, which was good for both of us, actually made up for the over 1/3 that I lost in the dry cleaning business, and I was back on top again.
So that was really quite an ingenious solution to what might have been an overwhelming problem for a lot of people.
A lot of dry cleaners went out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so you now have sort of a combined business, dry cleaning and tuxedos. Let's jump a few years. We're now into the 1970s. As you mentioned, you were successful in your business, but something else was happening. There was another problem you were encountering, maybe even a more significant problem, because ultimately it made a dramatic change in your life. Could you tell us about that?
Sure, Ed. One night I came home and I said to my wife, my sons, who were in bed at the time, had actually grown since the last time I had seen them. I said to my wife, we didn't have children. I didn't have children not to be with them. What to do? I was working 6.5 days a week, 12 hours a day, and there was something to be done. Well, we discussed either moving out west, changing our lifestyle, or actually moving to Australia. At that time, miraculously, we got an invitation to visit the new town in the desert, Lake Havasu. It was a weekend that we spent, and it gave us an invitation to a future family reunion.
So that was quite a dramatic change. I imagine you and your wife and your family had never been to the Southwest before, right?
Right.
So that really indeed took a lot of courage. But it was a successful approach because now you had more time with your family, correct?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, spending a lot of time with my family. It was wonderful. But all of a sudden, the person who I had sold my dry cleaning, tuxedo rental, and sales store to stop making the payments. That was $1,100 a month that all of a sudden stopped. It was terrible because I didn't have much money left from the house that we sold and the store that we had sold, because we were having a ball. We were traveling all over, went to the Four Corners. We were having a ball, and it was terrible.
So how did you resolve that? Did you go back east?
I asked my wife if she wanted to go back to New York, take back the dry cleaning and tuxedo store. She said, "No, Jerry, we couldn't do it. We would stay in Havasu and see what we could do." She gave me a hug, and that's all I needed.
Okay, so you made a very significant decision, both you and your wife, and you stayed in Lake Havasu. But I understand things weren't totally rosy. In fact, at one point, money became a significant problem. Could you tell us about that?
One day I came home and I found Nancy in the kitchen crying. "What's the matter, honey?" She said, "Jerry, we have no money and I have to buy the boys' shoes. I have 3 sons." And I just couldn't believe. I actually looked at myself as a failure.
So, at that point, I imagine most people would really find themselves at a tremendous depressing low point, but you were able to manage to go from there and become quite successful. How did you do it?
I said to my wife, my dear wife, that she would have no money problems ever again. And I sat down to figure out what should I do. Well, Lake Havasu City wasn't the only city that was, or the only town at the time. It only had 10,000 people living there at that time. So I decided to see what was in the other towns. We actually went to Bullhead City, we went to Kingman, Laughlin, and Parker, Arizona. We went to these cities, and I met a lot of people. I started to do more business, and this happened in 1978. But by 1979, I was making a living once again. I actually qualified for the $1 Million Round Table, which was the last time that I ever had a money problem.
Well, the interesting thing there is you are now in the financial services business. Now, what stimulated the change from dry cleaning to financial services?
Well, when I moved to Lake Havasu City, I found that nobody was wearing suits and dress trousers. What they were wearing were little T-shirts and shorts, which didn't lend themselves to dry cleaning. So what I did was figure that I had always been successful in investing. As a matter of fact, I actually had accumulated $10,000 in the market when I met Nancy in 1959. And she almost fell off the couch. $10,000 in those days was more than it is today. At any rate, I started to go to these other towns, and I started to do a lot of business in those other towns.
And that led to tremendous success. In fact, you've built up a financial services company that I understand is certainly one of the largest in that area of Arizona.
As a matter of fact, it's the largest investment company in Mojave County. And we have clients from New Mexico to Canada and from California to Florida. It's just amazing. People have moved away. Stay in touch with us.